Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Shante Franklin. I'll be doing a presentation on adaptive leadership in class Foundation of Leadership Theory, LDRS 501, Azusa Pacific University. First, let's get into a definition. Okay. Adaptive leadership defined. It is primarily on how leaders help others to do the work they need to do in order to adapt to the challenges they face. So adaptive leadership is not about the leader learning to adapt, but about the leader helping others to face challenges and change. You have adaptive leaders engage in activities that mobilize, motivate, organize, orient, and focus the attention of the others. So yeah, there's a lot there where you have the breakdown of you want things to be moving, ready to go, and want people motivated if they're motivated to move, or you need to get some positive motivation for what's coming ahead. There's a lot you have to get ready to go. And then you organize. When things are organized and people can say, hey, this is pretty clear cut, and they know the steps that they face when it's time to go. And it's just like I always explain when you're looking at orient and focus is when you see it and you're focused. It's like a bird of prey. They focus, and when they're focused on something, they're going straight down after it. They're not letting other things get in the way of that. They're ready to go and they're motivated to make that happen. And then you also have this little deeper breakdown here, which is in addition, adaptive leadership is about helping others to explore and change their values. The goal of adaptive leadership is to encourage people to change and to learn new ways of living so that they may effectively meet their challenges and grow in the process, because change is coming, challenges you'll have to face. If you can move, and let me just explain it like this. When you're in a job and change comes, or in life change comes, or challenges, and you adapt and you do what you have to do to overcome those, you're automatically moving up in values and in life. So that's what that is. There's a way you're going to move up and move over and beat those challenges and beat what's going on there. And then there's kind of like an internal definition of 4 viewpoints of adaptive leadership. So viewpoints are system perspective. So that's going to be the evolution of people's problems. They change and are embedded in complicated interactive systems. And then you have biological perspective. People develop and evolve as a result of internal and external changes. Being able to adapt allows people to thrive in new circumstances. Kind of what we touched on a moment ago, that adaptation and raising the bar for yourself once you do make those changes. Service orientation perspective. It's about the leader using his or her skills by seeing the challenges of the followers and helping with the solution. And then you have psychotherapy perspective. An explanation on how people adapt and a leader's understanding of the importance of being supportive. So that's more of the viewpoints when it comes to adaptive leadership. And we have a table here that kind of breaks down the start and finish, which is pretty much, situational challenges. So you're going to have technical and adaptive challenges, and then you have adaptive challenges. And one of the so a technical would be something more you see a problem and there's already a solution in place. So you can go and use what you have at your fingertips at your disposal to help with that problem, your expertise to get in there to help. So it's already something there. That challenge, that problem is there's already a solution. There's already a fix. Then you get the mix of the technical and adaptive. And so it's something that you know, but you're still gonna have to get a game plan to go with. And so it kind of breaks that down. Then you get the adaptive, which is probably going to be the most challenging, of course. And as Mark Twain so eloquently put it, the only person who likes change is a wet baby. So there's no clear answer to this. You're going to have to get a game plan. There's going to be a change, and there's a challenge that's already there. The change is there. And as you know, with people, we do not like change when we have something going or we may feel something is already working for us. But, again, once you make the change or you deal with that challenge, you elevate the productivity or something in your life. So to deal, you are going to have to face the action plan and also face those who are not ready for the change because it's not something that we just naturally like to do. So now we're going to go to the leader's behaviors. And this one, you have get on the balcony. You want a good overview of what problem you're facing. And that way you see everything from start to finish, and not really finish, but you see the problem and you see the challenge or you see the change that has to come, and you're not right in the middle of the crowd as it's just overwhelming you. You can't even look ahead. It's kind of like with me in traffic. When you drive a lot, you try and look down the hill, or you try and say, hey, I'm kind of trapped here. Something goes wrong with this car. So you look ahead because you may not cause the accident, you may not, but you can be a part of it if you're right in the middle and you don't have the full story, you don't have everything that's going on. Then you have identify the adaptive challenge. You have to be able to identify the challenge in order to fix it. You can't fix something if you don't know what it is. And then you're going to have regulate the stress. Be supportive. There's going to be uncertainty. So you want to be a part of the good and be prepared for the change. Because when you give too much, it can hinder a process. When there's too much going on, it can hinder it. So as a leader, you want to be vigilant for all the factors, reactors during the process. Your followers should know that they can come to you for any direction. And then you have maintain discipline. You have to keep order, make sure not to let them stray from what has to be done. They may try and avoid the work. They may try and do something that they're more comfortable with and do more of it to avoid what has to be changed. You got to make sure that they're focused on the change also and what needs to be done from that part. And then give the work back to the people. It's do not be overwhelming. You're doing most of the work and it's just like you love it, or you gave the whole game plan. Let them get involved in the decisions and part of the plan, because that will only help you. If they're part of the plan and they know they put into it, they're going to be, more involved at fixing it and doing it themselves, because they don't feel like it's just you telling them what to do or you gave them this. They felt like they were part of it, so then they can get involved. And then you have protect leadership voices from below. And those are the out of group people who are the naysayers, who are going to sit there and get in everybody's ear and try and overtalk or outtalk of the plan you already have, because they're negative. So in order to prevent that, you have to make sure that you're involved. So adaptive work, a place for the followers. This is when and where the process takes place. The actual change leaders see the followers going through. And a holding environment. A holding environment where questions can be asked, work is done, the change is in the works, and the implementation is going at its highest and things are moving towards working at the action plan that you guys came up with. So that's where that pretty much falls in. Understanding the relationship change with adaptive work between leaders and followers. So you're not there as an authority. Normally they try not to use the term followers because they want to know that it's more of an interaction with you and them. So it's more of an interaction more than an authority thing when it's time to implement this plan and get things going. So that pretty much is what it should understand. The relationship is a little different from a leader and a follower. It's more of an interaction between you guys. So that's where that plays. The process. So the process breakdown. First, as a leader has to step back. That's the first thing. Step back, get on that balcony. Start looking at what's going on. Step back. When an issue is at hand, to understand the entire situation, how complex the problem is, the factors that play a role. When assessing if the challenges are technical or adaptive. Remember, you have technical and adaptive. If it's technical, you already have something in play. And there's a way you can use what you have at your fingertips or there in policy or your expertise to address the challenge and go from there. If it's adaptive, the leader, you have to engage in several specific leader behaviors to move the adaptive process forward. There's the motivation, there's orient, there's keeping people focused, motivated, and making a plan and being a part of the team and helping, with the process, not being an authority to have them, go against you, but help with the process and, interact with each other. And then still being aware of distress, keeping motivation, and dealing with the out of group distractions, which is all pretty much exactly what we went over. There's going to be distress, people not wanting to move, or they may feel like hey, I'm really good at, nailing this, so let me nail instead of going over here and having to screw these 8 things because that's something to challenge and to change I don't feel like dealing with. You know what? The screws still have to go in just like the nails. This is part of the change. This is going to make us have a better structure. So let's tackle these screws too. Come on, I'm right here with you. What do you need help with, or do you need some guidance? So that's pretty much where that falls into play. And that's pretty much the breakdown, the process of starting and understanding what you have from challenges or technical or adaptive, and getting your people going, and also keeping those out of group people from distracting the work that you have. All right. Strengths and weaknesses. Strengths. Leaders have a structure to follow. It helps build relationships and trust between followers and leaders, and that interacting. And when you get a game plan and you get people involved and they feel a part of the leadership team, they feel a part of what's going on, and they get important, they're going to be more positive aspect to the group and to the organization. It is also more followers centered. Okay, it is also more follower centered. Apologize. And they are a huge factor in keeping the wheels turning in an organization. I mean, there can be one huge boss, there can be maybe 4 or 5 middle bosses, and there can be a whole slew of followers down there keeping it going. So once you can get them involved and you get that positive role going, and when they can learn, and they're also learning how to face challenges at work, which also may help them face challenges at home. So it's a win-win with that. Now, the weakness of the adaptive leadership is that it just hasn't been tested a lot, and there's not a lot out there to say, hey, well, what if this happens or that? And so so the naysayers or the critics are more like, hey, we haven't tested this, you don't know that, all you're going off of is this small piece. So that's the only negative thing, is that it's still a little new and there's not a lot of tests to really have it concrete that it's the right thing for an organization. So my experiences with adaptive leadership: bad is when a problem happens, reacting too fast. I've had a situation where a person left to go check a facility between 10 and 11, and an emergency happened between 10 and 11. And then all of a sudden there was a new rule: no one can go check a facility between 10 and 11. Now, out of 4 years, there's only been one emergency between 10 and 11, and it's very quiet at after 10:30, where you're just pretty much sitting there twiddling your thumbs. So when people get in and try and make changes because they feel a challenge, and then all of a sudden you don't look at the big picture, it's kind of frustrating. And then you also have people. I remember this homeless guy. He came and he ran through, and he ran on the airfield out where the planes were. You can't just start making rules, because how many times has the homeless person ran through the airport and ran on the airfield where the planes were? In the last 10 years, it's probably from our location once. So now you come down real hard and you make all these rules. I mean, you want to make sure that there are things in play, but some of the things that you tell people could not be right, which is, one, stand in front of them. Well, what if you stand in front of them and they spit on you, they hit you, but you're not allowed to, you can defend yourself. So now you're antagonizing the fight. Who can win or lose, who has a weapon? You don't know. That's the authority's job. Let them come. You do what you're supposed to. Watch, observe. You go as far as you can where you're still safe. And now as a police officer, you deal with things differently. That's your job. So, and telling people to do certain things way before and out of pocket just because you feel that you're making something better, you got to look at the big picture. And now what about if you get in front of that homeless person and you have to hurt him? And now where's the company at? Are they going to say, hey, this is policy? Are you going to back that person? Or are you going to be in court by yourself with a lawsuit? So there's a bigger picture. And looking at what works and what does not work. Okay, good. Taking time to think through an incident to make changes. Being there for employees who want change and to take a better role. So, I mean, for me, one of the things is, when you want to step up in my company, they have guidelines. They have things where, hey, you want change, you want to move up, you want to do this, go through this process. And it's a big, thick booklet of process. So make sure that you can be there for the employees and give them what they need. And that's one good thing that you do, because it's a very frustrating process. There's a lot of questions. So making sure you're there step by step is a great thing as a leader for me, and other organizations who follow that. So that's the end of my presentation. You guys can take a look at the references. It pretty much all came out of our leadership book. And thank you so much. If there's any other thing, there's, again, the leadership book of adaptive leadership. That chapter was great for me, and reading everything that I got from that. So again, my name is Shante Franklin, and thank you for being here for my presentation.